Welcome, welcome. Back to the VWAP, or sorry, POC. But we've already had a bit of a move from 1706 to 17 or 16760. So about 300 point sell-off on Nasdaq overall. So today, Bookmap put on a bit of a clinic in order flow. It was beautifully, beautifully accurate. It's not always that accurate, but today it was phenomenally accurate. They just dropped off liquidity, by the way, top of the hour. Look at this 47.45 on ES. 47.45 just came on in a very big way. They also put on 48.37, but they shifted that one down. That was already on at 48.60. They shifted it down immediately to 48.33. That looks more like a bracket. This one was newly added. So if I'm choosing between those two, I'm choosing this cat right here, 47.42. So you see the liquidity shifting on the book map, which means an active order book, which means if you want good price action to move, that is what you want, an active order book, right? Normally we don't get a lot of movement. Not to mention we've got, what, the 30-year, I believe now is the 30-year bond auction coming on. Right, meow? Today's Thursday. We've got the 30-year bond auction. Yeah, right now. And then at 2 o'clock, in an hour, we've got the federal budget, which is not that big of a deal. The 30-year will be bigger. So yeah, TLT is big green at the moment, and the VIX came all the way down to 1267. 1267. And what's more impressive about this green bounce is where it occurred. Beautifully, beautifully accurate. Yeah, it was a bond auction, 30-year bond auction, just cleared. And I'll go get the results for that here momentarily. I'll go to the treasurydirect.gov and get the 30-year bond auction bids. See who's buying bonds, baby. You got to diversify your bonds. How's everybody doing on YouTube? What's up, Holy Trinity? Ty Rich, Corey, how you doing? We live or not? No, we live. We live. So this morning my thesis was short opportunities. I was careful to say bearish. I was trying to be accurate with my words to say short opportunities, and yes, we did get plenty of that. A little bit of green up here to 16,785. Currently in no positions myself. They haven't posted the data yet for the bond auction. No postings. So we'll see. We've got this 4831 right here. Let me share my book map as well. Share screen on Discord. Book map 15. Bada boom. We're set. No data. Poured up 12%. Yeah. Little top wick back down here. What are we doing? So Vanguard bans all Bitcoin ETFs immediately. Right out of the gate, they ban them. They don't want any part of it. So we're already talking about 120 point bounce here. ES is up as well. They're up about 23 points. Nasdaq has liquidity down to 16,750 and are off to 1,700. So tomorrow's thesis will be closed on today's, or will be based on today's closing. One second, I have to mute. One second. All right, I'm back. Yeah, exactly right, JJ Butts. I expect they'll do exactly that. Exactly that here. So, all right, they're holding 875 right now. There's no liquidity on Nasdaq. ES still has this cat up here, 4,800. So here's the 4,800 retest. Let's do one thing as well. So still 900. Give me a second. The 50% retracement is 4,800 on ES and 16,900 on NASDAQ if we come up to that area. That's also right at VWAP. Just so happens to be VWAP as well. So if they recapture VWAP, you'll know who's going to complete your control. Order flow, there's not really too much at 4,800 other than just a basic 0-0 structure. CVD has flipped back to green after being substantially red. And the book overall is beginning to climb upwards on many different names. Let's see what happens here. 47.97, still climbing. Very, very slow stuff. Big volume must have hit my one call strike. What, did pop it? That happens. 34 into 4,800 liquidity. So here's the first big test coming on the stream. You know, we're 7 minutes in, and the first big test is the 4,800 test. All right. Why is TradingView trending right now? Let's see. Oh, okay. I see why they're trending. So by the way, here are the Bitcoin ETFs that are listed on TradingView. That's why they're trending. I'll post those on the YouTube too if you're interested. Oh, it won't let me. Rejection off 4,800 right there. Almost 47.97 didn't get a good ping. They're building even lower, 47.75. So now they've got double stacked. Double stacks. 47.75, 47.45. Well, double stack for our Wendy's people, and double for our In-N-Out people, or just a double cheeseburger for everyone else. So 4,800 down to 47.75 right now. So still, they are building structure lower at 47.45. And anyone ping me, you see this guy right here was spoofing 46.90. So there's a whole bunch of market order flow lower, and it's being actively managed and pursued. There are a couple of things else you saw this morning. If you were to go back, let's zoom out, because today Bookmap made me a lot of money on 2 occasions here. So here was the 9:30. We had about 3,000 sell icebergs hit the tape, and right when they filled is when we started to dump. It was extraordinary right there. So 8:30 Eastern time, 9:30, right at the open, boom. They dumped that thing back over. Then if you're coming back over here, right here, we had another big order that they bounced off of one time, which I don't look to play on the breach on the first time, but notice that here, they didn't spend any time there. So we bounced back up. I don't want to short that. The second one I'm more apt to short because they stayed here for a couple of minutes, and then boom, the big red absorption blast down, and we came up here and then stuck around here for another hot minute right here. This is where we made a lot of money. This is where we dropped about 15 points in a couple of seconds and about 70 points on NASDAQ in a couple of seconds. All that active liquidity lower has been great, and now they're putting on even more, a lot more structure lower. So it's good to see an active order book, kind of planning for the day to come. We still have one more day left in the week before a long weekend. Let me head over and take a look at the options chain data, the GEX. For today, ooh, look at that. For today, we've got pinged at 474, which we're currently at right now. For tomorrow, they've got, let's see, expiration filter for the 12th, 469. 469 is tomorrow's strike. So it's a lot lower on the GEX profile tomorrow. If we're looking at the deltas, heavily negative right now to 476 for the deltas. A little bit different for tomorrow. Let me make sure that's tomorrow's exposure. Yeah. And today is not really clear. Oh, those are two more? Thank you. So, anyway, still just kind of watching. No active trades on right meow. Waiting for something. All right. So I haven't really moved here. Still hanging out 4,800. Buying up half this move. We're coming up to the 50% retracement. We're coming up to VWAP. We're coming up 4,800. XLF is making its way back up. Looking around the market, pretty much everything has put on a bit of a recovery to some degree. XLI, very, very strong recovery. But all of the X's, except for XLE, is making a recovery. CL, what are they doing? Huge sell-off on oil. They've dropped from 73, 77 all the way down to 72. So once again, rejecting the 74 area. CL has rejected 74 so many freaking times I can't even count. Actually, I can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. There you go. Done. And that continues to be a moneymaker. Lower 70s and then 74. Short at 74, buy in the lower 70s. NVIDIA will sell more artificial intelligence chips worth $500 million to India data center operator Yotta, increasing its total order book to $1 billion. Sorry about that. Reuters reported Tuesday, citing Yotta chief executive, his name. NVIDIA's doing a lot of crazy stuff, man. They're up another percent today to 550, almost 549. Right now, we're not moving. No plays for me. Just chillaxing. The daily chart has a lot of nastiness. A lot of nastiness. Let's go look at the daily real quick. Kind of looks like a bunch of chop, doesn't it? Intertwined with a lot of trending cycles. Got a little bit of a range forming, or a wedge, if you will. Something like this. Little broadening formation. Will we reject and come back off and kind of do this and then, or what? Next week. Is it next week? Yeah, next week is OPEX. So the move into and after OPEX will be pretty fun, despite the fact that it's a shortened holiday week, 3-day weekend. All right, here we go. That's the thought process for anyone who has rental property. If these Airbnb does not make a difference, what are y'all talking about? It may disrupt rental markets only in certain urban areas, but overall it doesn't touch fundamentals of the housing market. People rented out properties way before Airbnb existed. I use Craigslist for that. Airbnb just made it easier. Yeah. Yep. The problem now is that the absolute onslaught of Airbnbs to exploit these areas. Like, I use this example frequently. Like New Orleans, it's like 70 or 80% Airbnbs or Verbos, which price the locals out of the area. And what's going to happen to the market? Now people don't want to pay a $750 cleaning fee, and that happens. So now in terms of rental properties, I mean, obviously y'all know I'm invested into the rental state and into the rental game, but it depends on quality of location, quality of property, quality of tenant, stuff like that. You could buy a terrible property that's going to have terrible experiences, or you could buy a decent property in a good area and have a great experience. People are always going to need to rent. In fact, one could surmise that in a recession environment, renters become more attractive, or a rental property becomes more attractive for somebody rather than buying a home. It is what happened in NOLA. That's my city. They've since passed legislature and curbed it any more of it. Good, good. That's the fix, is local government. That's my opinion. I think the federal government needs to keep their grubby little hands off of it and give it to the local governments, which is intended back in the 1700s anyway. Anyway. SPY. No movement right now. No trades, no movement. Very, very slow, grindy price action. Still rejecting this 4,800 area. Overall, and to the end of the day, even if we don't really do much in this session, looking at the last hour or last hour to hour and a half of the day, this is what I'm paying attention to. 47.45 and 47.75. Those are substantial levels in this cat right here, 48.35. A little bit different in management. These down here are new additions, and this here is a movement. Some cat changing the order book, most likely a bracket. So yeah, we want less regulation until we don't. Well, in my opinion, it's local government. That's my whole thing: is give it to the local government and get the Fed out of it. The states should be able to regulate themselves. The only regulation I want is the kind of benefits me. Yeah. Yep. All right, still holding 47.97. The daily VIX is telling what the top week. Yeah. So again, the VIX continues to knock down. It just shows you that we're not ready for the positioning for pressure. Even today, 100 or 300 points on Nasdaq, VIX rolls off. Even though I know VIX and Nasdaq. Yeah, I get it. But even the pressure of the S&P rolls the VIX right on back off. Probably, we know a lot of the zero DT mechanics are have a hand in that, but until we get any widespread pop on the VIX, you can't really expect a big rollover. Even now, buy up half this move. Vail gets 9 more inches of snow. Great. Great. Say it anyway, VIX fast NASDAQ. Yeah. No position for me right now. We've been pinned here for about 20 minutes. And the buyers are still holding everything up. The FAA is launching a formal investigation into the 737 MAX. That should not be good for the stock price. And it's not. They're getting pummeled today too. And they're holding under VWAP. Tesla is down 3%. Let me see where that puts us on the daily chart. Oof. I was just talking about that one this morning too. Dang, look at that. You still long? Naked J or Trader J? Rolling the stops up? I don't call it the flying coffin for nothing. Do they call it the flying coffin? On my way to Colorado 3 weeks ago, we flew in a 737 MAX. I did not care for it. Jeez Louise. A-front bond auction is over, and we're still trudging up here very slowly. ES is holding right under 4,800, not moving. Nasdaq is a little bit more bullish there. They're trudging up through into 900, but everything is doing the V recovery. Apple is the lagger there, but even they're V recovering, and of course the VIX. The VIX is back red on the day. Very very large reversal back down. Oil reversed down too, so a little bit inverse there. That was boring? It was. It was. Not a lot of movement here. No trades. Watch, it's gonna pick up right when we sign off. What's the flow line doing today? $16,900 coming up on deck. Lots of orders in 900, yeah. Get the heck off so I can get my... yeah. Oh, trust me, the second I sign off, this thing is going to pummel. Watch, it happens. Top of the hour. Yeah, we've got this little bit of 900 here, chilling out. Not a lot, not much else there, and of course we have these two cats. This one's building a little bit on there. Not much going on. Very boring. Very boring. What are these weirdo lines I say I don't see all the time? This right here is the EMAs. EMAs, 82134. Was there anything on the chart that signaled afternoon uptrend? The only reason I bought that bottom wick to reversal, but that's because I've got one of my macro levels right there. It bounced perfectly off my macro level, and I took an entry there. Other than that, no, there was nothing. I really thought since the White House didn't come out and take a victory lap, the whole day would be ugly. Yeah, yeah. $16,892, 900. You're welcome, Mikey. So the blue is the 8, the yellow is the 21, the purple's 34. You see they're all starting to cross back over, and the green is VWAP. And this thing is still grinding up higher here. Still going. It does look blasty, yeah. It does look it. Going higher here. I don't care what the MMs do, just do something. Yeah, tell me about it. Right to VWAP. ES is still holding 4,800. No movement so far. NASDAQ is a little bit more bullish. They are climbing through and into 900, which is also VWAP. Yeah, the first time we touch one of the macro levels, if you're tier 2, listen up. The first time we touch macro levels, chances are we're going to bounce or reject whichever direction we're going. The first time. The second, third, fourth time, not so much. But I'm very confident taking a trade on the first touch of a macro level when we're approaching it. Most of the time, it works out well. Sometimes, it continues to go. It doesn't work all the time. Otherwise, I'd be a trillionaire. But it works out pretty well. And I have confidence taking a blind trade off those levels most of the time on the first touch. Where was my macro level? Today, this macro level was here. Right there. And I played right on it. Actually, in all honesty, I took a 770 order. I got a fill at 16,770. The macro was 763, so I gave it a little wiggle room. And it worked out pretty well. I'll give you all that one. Oh man, 16,900. All right. No way, because I had one at 7:55. However, I didn't play off of it because I was away from the desk. But still, there you go. Good job. Right on. Even though it's 12 points off, it's still very, very close. Close enough where hand grenades, baby. Good enough. Today's been a hard trading day. Um, possibly, possibly. I personally, I never want to use the word easy because it's never easy ever. Maybe some days are easier than others, but in my opinion, there were a lot of signs that this was going to occur today. There were a lot of signs coming down. So just had to be patient. Yeah, yeah. But I know some days are harder than others. Some days y'all are killing it, and I can't see nothing. So I get it. I get it. It opened up my eyes, Callie. But there's some days that I just can't see crap, and y'all see it all. So I get it. There are days where it's harder than others for sure. Oh my gosh, I love it. Love it. Hey, I'll take Ace of Base any day over Skinny Jean country music. How can someone identify signs or guess what do you mean by signs? It's about identifying the cycles, which today, this whole week, I've done particularly good at. Better than normal. And sometimes it happens like that. Sometimes you're just killing it, and sometimes you can't. You couldn't hit water if you fell out of a boat. It happens. So for me, I saw there was a whole bunch of green. I saw that the 60-minute candles were hammering everything, which made me go long into today. And like today was the first day that I was looking short. Because one of the data posting up into the rejection at 17 and change, let's call it 17,000. And then, of course, the top wick that occurred right there at the market open. We had a green bounce and then immediate flush. And that was my opportunity. Now, I didn't know today was going to be bearish. Like I said, I just knew that we were going to have ample short opportunity today that we haven't had this week. And it turned into a pretty bearish morning. Once I identified the bearishness is happening, after that it's just VPA. Because I'm not sentient, I don't have a crystal ball, just like no one else has. So once I identify the target of the top wick occurring right there at 9:30 Eastern Time, after that it's just VPA analysis. It's just simply watching the top wicks in the volume. And then I gave y'all why I took the big short that we wrote on down. We made a lot of money on because of the failed tweezer. Tweezers are incredibly bullish, but when tweezers fail under declining volume, it's the exact opposite. They're incredibly bearish. So a bullish indication is bullish unless it's bearish, and then it's bearish. The bullish can be bearish only if it's bullish. Catch my drift? In all seriousness, no. If you have a bullish setup that has declining volume that fails, whether it be a tweezer or a hammer or whatever it is, then you have to look at the opposite reaction there, which is why I took entry. So it's really the big to small analysis, which is what I did that tier 2 Zoom call over 4 weeks ago. It's all big to small. So my short trade today started Sunday night. It started with these are the macro levels. This is my game plan for the week. My whole game plan this week was early bullish reaction. And it's because of the volume that we had on the doji candle on the daily from Friday. So if you go back and look at the daily doji volume, the bulls stepped in a very big way. So my emphasis for the week was early bullish reaction. Not necessarily a green week. I said that. I said not necessarily a green week. However, I knew the bulls were going to respond early. And they did so up until Wednesday. And then brings us today, Thursday, which I was looking for a short opportunity. And after that, it's all top wicks. So it starts Sunday, and it filters down into the 5-minute candles, all the way down to the 5-minute candles. And all of the bullish sentiment I had carried through because of the 60-minute chart. So I went from the daily on Sunday to the 60-minute chart Tuesday and Wednesday to the 15 and 5-minute chart today. The deeper into the chart I go, the lower the time frame I get. And then all the way down into the failed tweezers on the 5-minute. All that to say is that it's not easy. You've got to be able to have the situational awareness to look at all the different time frames, time frame continuity. What can you identify on the time frames? I forget who it was. Someone said, I'm looking at puts here Tuesday afternoon. They said, I'm looking at puts here. And I said, don't, because they're still hammering the candle on the 60-minute. And what do? We gapped up overnight. So you've got to be able to zoom out to the 60-minute, the 120, the 240, and see the hammers, to see the top wicks, to see everything else. Does it work perfectly? No. It never works perfectly. But you can start to trim up your erroneous entries. You can start to trim up your dumb losses, your quote-unquote, your dumb losses that you could otherwise avoid if you just zoom out a little bit. And I'll tell you this too. If you are a fly-by-the-seat of your pants trader, you're probably not going to do so well. Do you know why in flight school, when we go to fly, your schedule, let's say your wheel's up at 0700. At 0400, we're in the briefing room briefing. We're preparing for the flight. We know from the time our butts get in the seats, from the beginning checklist to start up the engine to the final checklist to shut down the engine when we land after we're done. We know exactly what we're going to do at what times, where we're going to make a radio call, where everything is happening. We're pre-planning every single variable of the flight. So we don't just say, all right, well, wheels up at 700, I'm going to wake up and grab my coffee and jump in the jet and we're going. No. And same thing with trading. If you are just literally coming up on the chart, you're opening up the chart at, 9:27 in the morning, and all right, let's do this. Daddy needs a new pair of shoes. Then, there's nothing I can do to help you. There's nothing I can do to help you. So, if you want to make professional money, you got to act like a professional. Period. Anyway, this is me jumping off my soapbox. Kind of a long ramble there, big to small. Anyway, ES is still 4,800. No movement there. NASDAQ is still pinging off 900, which is also VWAP. Why do you got to tell everyone my strategy? You have a hard time spotting the signs? Yeah, and that's my intent here too, Resno. Is I'm trying to talk through everything. I try to talk through my favorite tacos, and I try to talk through the price action. And I try to talk through everything. And I hope you get value from that, But I literally need new shoes. I love it. I love it. I'm curious, how many freaking lines do you prep your chart with by the opening bell? I'm trying to have too many to receive you. Good question. So I don't keep them all in the same chart. The lines that I've got on my chart, I've got my Options University, which is the OMU, the Tier 2. I've got my Options University chart that's got the macro levels on it. It also has VWAP, so it's got all the macros in the VWAP. And the macros, they're anywhere between 30 to 50 points apart, so they're not all over the place. I've got the SR chart, which is nothing but EMAs and the SR levels that I would glance at for any kind of pivots for the SPY. And then I've got like 10 different files in my trading view, so I can open up and glance at whenever I need to, because I don't need to look at all. I don't need to sit there and glance at all of it at one time. But whenever I need it, I open up a tool and look at it. I've got another chart that's volume price analysis that's simply got the session range volume profile and the fixed range volume profile from LuxAlgo. So I can identify the POCs that are shifting day to day, and I can identify the macro daily POC all at once. So I don't have everything up on one chart at all time. I pick a tool out of the toolbox as I need it. You know, I don't always need a wrench. I don't always need a hammer. I don't always need a screwdriver. I take it out when I need it. But the chart I look at every day, like constantly, is my chart that's got the macro levels and the VWAP on it, period. That's it. And POC, the volume profile POC. But also, I have got audio, audible notifications on all my macro levels. So anytime we touch a macro level, I'm getting a notification, and I know it. And sometimes I'll be bold enough to put a open order at that macro level and just walk away. Just walk away. And come back later. And so hopefully we have a bunch of attendees. Can I explain icebergs? You 4x your daily goal? Mikey, I love it, buddy. I love it. Did you long off the macro? Mikey, he likes it. Isn't that like a 1980s commercial? Yeah, icebergs are, I guess hidden orders would be a good way to put it. They are obscured orders, I think is a better way. They are intentionally hidden from view through some sort of algorithmic order flow through some big player's brokerage. So we don't know the quantity, we don't know the strategy behind it, but we know that they are putting orders at these particular levels. And what we want to do is understand why they're doing those. Now, there's icebergs all over the place at all times. Ones, twosies, small stuff that I'm not really concerned with. But when I see something like this, right here, I want to be a part of it. I see 3,000 sell icebergs hit the tape, and immediately we go on a freaking sell-off. Right here. And we blow right on through. So this is what I'm looking for. And also, conversely, what happens down here? We have all these supportive icebergs hitting the tape down here. So you play iceberg to iceberg. Now, I don't really want to pay attention to, today's not a good day because all these are very large icebergs. But a normal day when we only have like 10 or 12, I don't want to pay attention to those. But if I see up here at the top a crap ton of sell icebergs and at the bottom a bunch of buy icebergs, that's what you want to pay attention to. And you play the support into the icebergs. And the way I play them is when they show up on the chart, they are first magnets. After they transact, they now become repellent. Icebergs are magnets first, repellent second after they're transacted. Do you think my stop was too small on these trades? I was patient and waited for levels and entered longs based on my system, but the 3 times I entered, we'd move out of demand, and we didn't. I got stopped out. Hold on a second. Cool, microphone got unplugged. Yeah, okay. So you were long. Is that you entered long based on my system, but 3 times I entered? You were probably too tight. Yeah, your stops are probably too tight there. Again, I mean, that NASDAQ, even if you held one candle, you're still getting, that was like a 40-point candle. So that's still a pretty good win on NASDAQ. 40 points is $800 a contract. So that's not too shabby. However, if you want to catch a trend, you got to loosen the stops. So for me, you see how it consolidated for a hot minute? That consolidated there for like an hour and a half. If you want to catch a trend, you have to be willing to say that I'm going to. What's the way to put this? If you want to catch a trend, you can't immediately put your stop into profitability because of that right there. This thing's going to shake and bake. So it all drives from confidence. So for me, Robert, if you caught, let's say the 770, because I played that. I played 770. I didn't get filled on the first green like you did. I got filled on the second green, the big green right there. And we came on back down. When I enter that trade, I'm at least I've got to leave my stop loss at least at break even, or even just keep it in loss, to basically say I'm going to give this thing time to bounce, because it took us an hour and a half to actually really bounce. If you want to catch a trend, you've got to do that. Are you going to give back some profit on some stupid scalps? Yeah, you are. But you're never going to catch a trend if you don't pull your stops back and give it a little bit of breathing room. Very rarely is the market binary, where it just goes down and bounces and goes up without the fluctuation and the shakeout. Now, if you're looking for a quick scalp, no, those are great plays. If you're looking to catch a 200-point trend, then yeah, your stops are too tight. It really depends on what you are intending to do. Do you think there's a minimum amount of capital a retail trader should have in order to trade responsibly? I trade with a smaller account, and it's hard not to get blown out by one bad trade. Yes, I do. I think it's incredibly difficult to trade with like a $200 account or a $500 account. I don't know how anyone does it. In my opinion, the intent of you as a retail trader is not to turn $500 into $10,000 or $1 million. Your intent is to just get reps in so you could continually fund the account. Your job is not to make money with $500. Your job is to get reps in, to learn the market with skin in the game, so you can start to build a process. That's the thing, is money is incidental of the process. If you focus on the money, you're never going to make money. If you focus on the process, the money will come. If you build it, they will come. And y'all seen that movie? It's amazing. It's a great movie. Field of Dreams. So your job is to find a product that you could trade with over $500 or $1,000, whatever you got, that you're not worried about the money. You're worried about the process of driving accuracy, high quality trades, and a good R&R. If you've got an 85% win rate, but your R&R is only like 1.1 to 1, or it's even negative, your losses are bigger than your wins, then you're never going to be profitable. I don't care if it's a 90% win rate. So you need to drive a system that's producing at least a 2 to 1 win rate, or R&R, I'm sorry, not win rate, R&R, and then has a good 75 to 85% win rate. And then you could start saying, all right, well, I've got these parameters set. Now I can put in $100 a month until I have a $1,000 account, and then until I have a $5,000 and a $10,000 account. And then you start to make 8 to 10% a year or so, 1% a year on that account. And now eventually, over the course of 5 years, you've got $100,000 if you're a good enough trader. If you're not a good enough trader, then guess what? You got to go back to the drawing board and figure out the process. Now, if you want to be one of those dudes that takes $500 and, goes on a 2-week lucky streak and turns $500 into $10,000, go for it, I guess. Just be ready to put another $500 in when that goes away, That's the thing about options, is that it's possible. It's possible to do that. You go on a heater for 2 weeks, it's possible to turn $500 into 10 grand. But you have to understand that the market will eventually get you. If you go on a 2-week hot streak like that and you have those kind of returns, the market's going to take it back. So you need to understand, if you're able to catch a 2-week heater like that, you got to pull it back. You have to say, all right, at some point, the market's coming for me, licking its chops. I'm not condoning that. I'm just saying someone in here is going to do that. So I went on a 4-day hot streak, then had a disastrous day. Yeah. The market will, it'll get it back. It'll get it back. That's what I'm saying, man. I've had a phenomenal week this week, and I need to be cautious next week. So no movement here. It's literally been 50 minutes, and ES is still the exact same price. So we've been in a 2-point range since I came on the stream. So no trades, obviously. NASDAQ has gone up about 10 points, which is nothing in the world of NASDAQ. I apologize for the boring price action, but hopefully I invigorated you with our conversation. Been there, done that so many times. Yeah. Yeah. Really good weeks are terrible since it usually leads to being humbled. Well, yeah. Yep. And that's the thing. That's the thing. Like if you my overarching thing, my number one thing I could tell you all is to pull back the position size and hold longer. Pull back the position size and hold longer. If you can do that right there and still drive consistently and have a great week, then the odds of you having a disastrous day are very low because you pulled back with the position sizing and you're holding longer. If you're having a great week because you're over positioning and you just happen to kill it for a week straight and quadruple your port, then you're going to have a disastrous day. When you have a loss, it's going to wipe out everything. And that's the whole thing, is develop process. That's why don't chase the money, chase the process. Because if you chase the money, it's going to go away. If you chase the process, you have safeguards built into place. That's the real thing I can teach you. That's why I go on these tangents, because I don't have a golden egg to hand you. I don't have a silver ball or a silver silver platter or a magic 8 ball to give you. I don't have a magic indicator I could sell you for $300, because all that stuff is nonsense. It's about process. Besides trading in the zone, would you recommend reading a VPA book first or a technical analysis? VPA. VPA book. I want you all to understand order flow and basic market structure before you understand VPA, all the other stuff, the technical analysis. The wedges, the lines, the EMAs, all that stuff is secondary to order flow and price action and volume. I always enjoy your streams. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. Should I look for a shirt here? I don't know. Should you? A short. Oh, I see. There are some decent places to look at it. However, you want to get the corresponding price action here. I wouldn't take a short here because we still have a bottom wick. We're still trudging higher. There's no sell volume. There's no top wicks. So for me, I wouldn't short. It's a decent place to observe a possibility of a short, but I need the confirmation to actually get into it. Otherwise, we keep on going. You mentioned yesterday that you've gotten called scammer. Did they ever mention a reason? It's just the same old argument that if I was actually good at trading, why would I need to have a Discord? You know, the same old thing. And I guess they don't understand entrepreneurship. You know, if you're good at something, never do it for free. It's the same old thing. $16,912. And they don't bother to look into how the Discord started, because if y'all remember, the first 7 months of the Discord was free, and I was ready to jump off a building. It was terrible. When you give people something for free, they don't appreciate it. They don't value it. That's why you don't give discounts on a product. That's why you avoid sales, because it discounts your product, and people don't appreciate it. And I put in way too many years of hard work to give this stuff away. I don't know if it helps, but I like following OM's comment about holding longer. I found that getting in the money options have allowed a little more flexibility in terms of holding longer, since I had to worry about theta less. Absolutely. That's the second part to the conversation, is pick a product that allows you to hold longer. Futures, in the money, longer expiration, etc. Would you say that the price pivoting instead of a consolidation break to the opposite side has a higher percentage for a change in the trend? If I see a violent rejection off a level without consolidation, yes. Because what does that tell me in terms of volume price analysis? So let's zoom out to the daily. Right here. This is a great example. So right here, this kind of violent bounce tells me there's a whole bunch of demand right here. If we dip down in here and then boom, the rocket ship goes high without any kind of consolidation, that's violent. I mean, look how violent this price action was. That tells me there's a lot of demand there. But look at these moves. It takes a little bit more consolidation here. And when I see the consolidation, that's where you have to be a lot more patient and the move is going to be a lot more sustained. The longer the consolidation, the longer the move. But this stuff right here is very violent, and it happened under a lot of anomaly too. By the way, we're climbing because we never got any major volume spikes. But yeah, violence is the major pivot like that. Well, thanks, Tug. Appreciate that. Which stop would be the best in your opinion? My stop is the first picture, typically. Let's see. It really depends on what you're trying to do, Robert. The first stop is great if you're scalping. If you want to catch a trend, that I want... Let's see. I want the picture where you're below the bottom of the candle. The second picture, I guess, where the stop is below the bottom of the wick, slightly outside of it. That's where I want my stop if I'm trying to catch a trend. Because you've got to be able to survive the shake and bake. To the answer to the question if they should have shorted, the answer is no. Yep, because we saw no signs of shorting. There was no top wicks. There was no volume influx in sellers. There was no anything. It was just straight buying. So there you go. I find trying to use the SR levels as the price passes throughout order blocks. Oh, nice. Nice, yeah. For the stop loss. Oh, thanks, Matty. Appreciate it. You're very welcome. 16932 is climbing, so they broke through VWAP. They overtook it, so that's quite bullish, obviously. Climbing higher. So this has all the makings of a bullish trend. In a bullish trend, you get morning sell-offs, afternoon recoveries. It's either initiating a bullish trend or continuing a bullish trend. In a bearish trend, you get the opposite. You get morning buy-ups, afternoon dumps. So if this were to recover and not sell back off, then I would expect another green day tomorrow. And today's just kind of a write-off, and we'll go for all-time highs tomorrow. I think I need to go in with a goal. Absolutely you do. If my thesis is longer term, then I'll allow more risk. Yep. Yep. And remember, Robert, reduce your position sizing and hold longer. Imagine if you would have taken, and think about this. Would you rather buy 3 contracts for 10 points or 1 contract for 30 points? What would you rather do from a consistency over the long haul and the well-being of your emotional state? I'd rather take 1 contract for 30 points. So instead of trying to scalp 3 contracts, just take 1, take your hands off, take a breath, even walk away, and set a stop. Because, in my opinion, like for example, the red box you got, putting the stop loss just under the prior candle tells you that you're wrong and we've broken through support and we're selling off. Whereas just a fluctuation inside that candle just says all we're doing is accumulating. Good stuff. All right, anyway, we are flying. Big move here. ES is up 8 points. NASDAQ just put on 30 points. I cannot believe NASDAQ went back to nearly flat. Yeah, it's climbing high, man. It's climbing high. I tried to trade small moves yesterday on lower time frame. They got wrecked. Today I went back to higher, and I'm banking. Nice. Well done, Trader J. I like it. Higher time frames, baby. If this really goes back to prior high, tomorrow is going to be sweet green. Yeah, I agree. I mean, look at this thing. Jeez Louise. This is blasting. This is blasting. 3 contracts for 30 points, yeah. We do have PPI tomorrow. That is true. PPI. Anyway, y'all, that is the top of the hour. So that's going to finish up our stream. Yes, we finally had a move in the last 5 minutes there, but a lot of good conversation regardless. So sorry for the 55 minutes of boringness. If you have any questions, let me know. If you want to find out more about the community, let us know as well. A great place for like-minded individuals where we don't put up with crap. So fantastic day, y'all. I had a great time. 4 streams today, so I'm going to need a lozenge or some sort of uh, chloroseptic or something like that, whatever it's called. So yeah, I will see you all bright and early in the morning. We do have PPI. I'm not going to stream for PPI, but I'll be around for it. And then, of course, we'll kick off the week or finish off the week for a long weekend away from the charts and come back refreshed on Tuesday. So, love y'all. I'm out.